Hey, back again. I hope you all are doing well and you've had a good week. My name is Cole. I'm going by Trans Spirit on here, so I like to look at the more metaphysical and spiritual side of life. I am a non-op transgender person. Excuse me. I'm biologically female and I've identified as a boy really since I was in preschool. I'm 34 years old now. I didn't know what transgender meant until I was 20 years old. And when I found that out, my life forever changed. When I found out there was an actual word for how I felt, it was a great relief. It was also lots of pain, lots of things came up. And I hate to smile when I say this, but I'm smiling because if I could only go back and tell myself back in 2004 that I was going to be okay, the thought of that makes me smile. I went through almost a decade of heavy liquor drinking, drugging, and trying to mask the problems at hand. That's another reason why I'm so into the spirituality aspect of life and a lot of the self-healing and love and eating plant-based. I'm a vegan now, is because I treated my body like a trash can for so long that it only seemed fair to go to the other extreme, I guess you could say. Eating kale almost every day, at least I should, in my mind. But yeah, that's the point of this video. Is I wanted to reiterate the fact to people, especially to folks that identify as transgender, that a sex change is not always necessary. I was told by a transgender post-op, someone who had already had an operation, that it was necessary for me to have a sex change so I would not become a part of that 50% rule statistic. The rule in the transgender community is most people that do not get treated for their gender dysphoria commit suicide or pass away. Could be hate crime, or mainly they're talking about suicide. But anyway, excuse me, I really got a frog in my throat. 50% of transgender folk pass away before the age of 30. Now, I was told this at 20 years old, and of course it upset me, and I didn't want to believe that was true. I was told by the doctor profusely to take the testosterone to go along with the sex change, and that if I didn't, he was worried about my mental health. Well, I was very, very lucky and very blessed and watched over, because there were many a times that my life could have ended because of my drinking and drugging. And that was a result of the depression and anxiety that I dealt with because of being transgender. If I had to give advice to anyone who's younger, or even if they're not younger than me, they're just figuring themselves out and realizing who they actually are, because it can happen at any time in life. It's just a matter of if it happens or not. And if you start feeling like you're gravitating towards your true self, I definitely say you always go with that. Always follow your heart. If you feel like a sex change isn't for you, that's okay too. There is no right way to be transgender. I mean, to me, the overall fact is you feel, and you have felt for a while, that you would have been happier, and, well, that you should have been born the opposite gender that you were born. And for years, I felt that way. Now I still feel like it's weird that I'm not a male. Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. And trans people, you know what I'm talking about. It's like you're sitting in this body, especially people who have not transitioned. You're sitting in your body and you're like, I mean, I just don't, what is this? Like, what is this? I'm glad that I've gotten to a point where I can find self-love and go beyond my body, my flesh. I believe our bodies are temporary, and I am one to believe that our souls do go on, and whether if it's to another life or galaxy far away, whatever it may be, it's different for everybody, and I do respect everyone's right to have their own beliefs. But those are my beliefs. And I'm grateful that I've come to this point where I can show myself some self-respect and love and appreciation. It helps me to focus less on my gender dysphoria. It helps me to focus less on the fact that I'm not a boy and I'm a girl, but I feel like a boy, but I'm over here. A lot of the gender structure, it's a social construct, just like a lot of other things in this world, religion, just these separations that, because here's the deal. I'm well aware that I was born with female genitalia. I get that. But when you identify in your soul, especially since you're 5 years old, not everyone's the same, but that was for me from 5 years old. If that's the way you identify through and through, day after day, year after year, decade after decade, you're going into your third decade and you're like, you know what? 1989, let's see, it's 2018, I still feel like I'm supposed to be a guy, like I'm supposed to be a boy, like I'm supposed to be a male. You're transgender. That's what being transgender is feeling like you are supposed to be the opposite gender that you are. There's a lot of gray areas, just like with anything else in life, y'all. Gray areas all around. And gray areas are beautiful. They're not bad things. They keep us from being in little tiny boxes and having to be a certain way. I feel like I should have been born a male. At the same time, I believe with my spiritual beliefs that I was born the way that I am for a reason. I might not know exactly what that reason is. I don't view myself as God. So I don't know everything, the whole cosmic universe, or maybe I do. Maybe we all do, but we just haven't tapped into it. That's a whole nother video. All I'm saying is there's no right way to be transgender. I wanted to share with you a little bit more about my story, and a lot of the trans people on here on YouTube are coming on talking about their transition, stuff like that. Well, I have years and years of experience with this as not going through transition with what some people might call just cross-dressing every day. To me, I'm just dressing the way that feels normal. But according to society standards, since I'm dressing in more masculine clothing and I still have a female body, I'm XYZ. You see what I'm saying? It's crazy because really you would think we're just talking about what it's like to go through this, because it's a whole thing to go through without society like in your face, right? That's why I'm so grateful that there are a lot of people out there that support and love one another, because it's difficult enough to deal with a lot of the mental things that we all as human beings deal with, no matter what it is, disease, broken families. We're all going through stuff. Being transgender, everyone's going through stuff. But it's always helped me to look at the more positive side of things and look at things. Remember that they're not happening to you. They're happening for you. I truly believe that. Sometimes, in my life at least, some of the worst things that have happened in my life brought about the best things in my life. And I've met other people that feel the same way. That helps a lot with just overall mood and everyday life and not getting all upset. I've been one to get easily upset about every little thing. 9 minutes, I can talk, huh? So, it's like it's so difficult for me sometimes to get on camera. I get so camera shy. Surprisingly, I sing in public for a living. I still get stage fright and camera shy, and I guess it's a big part of it too, is me just pouring out my feelings and emotions and blah, blah, blah. But I felt the need to do that because I am a chatty Cathy, and I do put myself out there for a living, and I have been on stage and a performer for many years. And again, I'm 34 years young, and I felt the need to talk about this because I know there's a good amount of people out there, and I'm so grateful for all of you that are going out and speaking on not only the behalf of humankind, not only on the behalf of LGBTQ and on transgender people, but also on people that are just gender fluid, gender queer, non-op, just they don't really identify with the gender. Because I could sit here all day and argue with you and say, well, I feel like a guy, but I'm embracing being a woman. I don't feel like I want to mess with those chemicals and injections every day. I'm weird about chemicals. I'm weird about what I drink and what I eat. I say I'm being weird, but to me, it's weird not to care about that stuff at this point. It's all perspective, you see? So for me, it wasn't right for me to have a sex change. For you, it might be. And I completely support sex changes. I think they're an amazing gift to this world that it can happen. It can really help people. The stuff you go through mentally as a trans person, I wouldn't wish it upon my worst enemy. It's, I don't know if anyone out there, I shouldn't promote this too much, but if anyone's done any kind of hallucinogen, any kind of like shrooms or acid, or sometimes being transgender, when it comes to mainstream society, almost to me felt like a really bad mushroom trip. Because everything is just like opposite of what you feel. People keep addressing you as what you're not. People you fall in love with, they don't look at you the same way. You feel like, can't you see me? Can't you see me? And they see you for what they see on the outside. It's a total thing with the whole, it brings me back to don't judge a book by its cover. I don't know. But then it teaches you a lot too when you are transgender. Hopefully it does. To not be so judgmental toward other people. I still deal with this, with being judgmental, with all sorts of stuff. We're all only human, right? But I hope this video helped you, especially this goes out to the people that I was just watching, or excuse me, this goes out to the people too that, especially that are really figuring out who they are and if they're going to get a sex change or not. Because that's a really rough time. I was just going over some writing that I'm working on about my personal story, and I forgot how much that doctor argued with me about me getting a sex change. It's like he just was telling me I was not going to be alive by the age of 30 unless I got one. And I just, I don't know, it was weird because part of me wanted to get a sex change. And there's always going to be a part of me that's like, oh, it'd be a hell of a lot easier if I just like passed as a guy and just everybody left me the heck alone and I could stop saying I'm transgender and I could just be a guy. And that works for some people, but I've realized it's not gonna work for me. Like I do feel like I'm this genderless person. I'm more on the masculine side, but I just don't feel like I fall in the bracket of male or female on this planet. So I'll stay in my gray area. Enjoy your gray area. Everybody, just thank you so much for watching. Thank you for giving my videos a chance, checking them out. My name's Cole. I go by Transpirit. You can also find me at Cole Adams Music. It's all over the board as far as YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. I'd love to chat with you. Everybody, you all have a good day, night, whatever time of the day it is. It's night here. I got to go figure out a way to make some food. Peace and love, y'all.